Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, you find a way to lose. You can find yourself being extremely corrupt. Referees belong in rings, not pockets. They belong in rings, not pockets. So, is boxing corrupt? You figure it out. But when you look at some of these referees and some of the things they do during a fight, when you look at the judges and some of the outcomes, and after you watch the same fight, and you're saying, how the hell did they arrive at that outcome? Makes you wonder, right? And make sure you like and subscribe and leave a donation for the fried rice and chicken wings. Now, I know that I've watched things in the ring with some of these referees that I have on this slide. And I'm thinking to myself, how on the earth could that referee have made that call or allowed that to happen? I mean, there's stuff happening there that even Stevie Wonder could see, like, something's not right about that call. So much so that even the referee, you watch his nonverbal, his body language will tell you that he know he's up to no goddamn good. You can't prove it, but you can look and see. The body language, the nonverbals communicate the truth and let you know that there's some effing corruption that's taking place. Now, I gotta ask, right? When you see a fighter getting the shit beat out of him, or you seeing fouls happening, and one fighter's allowed to do it and get away with it, the other fighter's getting points taken away, makes you wonder how that happened, right? Y'all remember when Lomachenko fought Salido? That was pretty bad, wasn't it? You remember when Pritchard Colon had that fight against the individual, I can't remember his name, but the one who was hitting him in the back of the head that ultimately put him into his present condition. That referee allowed that guy to repeatedly hit Pritchard Colon behind the head. And then he was chastising Pritchard Colon. I think he even took a point from Pritchard Colon. And Pritchard Colon didn't do 1/100th of the shit that his opponent did. That same referee was the referee for Lamont Peterson and Amir Khan. That referee took a point from Amir Khan. He made sure Lamont Peterson won that fight. Y'all remember that? Now, we saw what happened here recently with Steve Willis, with Harvey Dock. Too much shit that's happened with him for us to not sit here and wonder, what's his story? Richard Steele, he'd take his ass all the way back to, the Taylor Chavez? Last few seconds, he made sure Chavez won the fight. Tony Weeks. What Tony Weeks do with that Barroso and Rolly? And there are more instances where Tony Weeks has done some bullshit. I don't remember anything about Mills Lane. Jack Reiss, of course, the one most notable and questionable act he's done as a referee, where he tongue kissed Tyson Fury to wake him up after Deontay Wilder had goddamn knocked him out cold. And then as far as this guy who's always with Mayweather, man, his name just came to my head. Not Bayless, Kenny Bayless. That man was always with Mayweather. He made sure Mayweather was all right, didn't he? Even after Mayweather retired, Mayweather took this man on his exhibitions. The bottom line is this, man. When it comes to corruption, or at the very least manipulation, it's just a matter, in my opinion, is some of these referees who are involved in boxing, they're getting paid big time money. And it's a matter of, look, I give you this dough, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. I'm going to need a favor. I'm going to need you to be a bit lawless. I'm going to need you to be a bit shady. But the bottom line, we're going to do this behind the scenes in the world of boxing. But on the front stage, I need this individual to win. And you have all the control in the world because you're in the ring with those fighters. And you can make sure that my guy wins. And I'm telling you that the corruption happens. It's conflict of interest, man, when you see all these different events being held by sanctioning bodies. And they have managers there, promoters there, the sanctioning bodies are there. They have fighters there, people from the commission there, people who are just interested in what's going on in boxing. You know, there's certain people there. How you have all these people there and you expect people not to talk and sit there, man, and make sure that there's a little money exchanges hands. We go to the restroom. They got the divider. I'm sitting there taking a piss, and on the piss on my left side, we're talking. No one's in there. You slide the envelope of money over. I grab it with my free hand, put it in my pocket. You tell me what you want. Okay. We walk out of there on the same accord, and you get what you asked for. You look what happened this past weekend, man, with old Steve Willis. Steve Willis was the world's favorite referee. He's in the ring. He's in the ring as a fan. He wasn't in this as a referee. He's as a fan. Every punch and everything. He's in there like, oh, shit. Now he comes out here with Tank Davis and allows the phantom knee to take place and doesn't call it a 10-8. Doesn't give a standing 8 count. Doesn't call it a knockdown. And then when they're putting the camera in front of his face now, he's like, I can't talk about it. That's because there's 3 types of corruption in boxing. And people believe that referees and judges, first type of corruption. And it's probably the most prevalent form of corruption in boxing, man, although it's the hardest to identify. That's why we're watching that we get frustrated because we're like, man, that MF, we know there's something more to it, but it's hard to identify, hard to prove. But the referees and the judges, man, and it makes you wonder, man, are people being deliberately corrupt? And I would tend to tell you that I think it's more of the judges and referees being corrupt than them being bad at their jobs. What was that one chick, Adelie Bird? They should have sent her ass over to the other side of the world for that bullshit she tried to pull on them scorecards. Okay? So we just gotta be real and understand how these judges, these referees, man, and just understand the influence they have, man, and just over the outcome of a match. And that's in all sports, but we're talking boxing for the most part. They're very influential. And if you can get one of these guys and have them inside your pocket, there's a lot of things that you can get accomplished inside the ring. And I just think with the referees, they just have so much flexibility. And the calls and decisions they made doesn't normally get overturned while they're there inside the ring. They make the call, they get supported, even if they're wrong. And then I'm sure there are conversations behind the scenes that we'll never be privy to. But the bottom line is, the referees, you can see when something is happening that doesn't make sense. And then with such a subjective scoring system, the judges, they can definitely do what the hell they want without anyone being able to really prove corruption. Oh, boy. Well, the worst part about all this is, in my opinion, is when a referee waves a fight off. You want your fighter who's still looking ready to go, or nothing really happens, nothing that significant, and the fight gets waved off. At any point in the fight, the referee can wave a fight off, or they can allow a fight to keep going, or they can stall a fight out, or they can give a super long 10 count. There's all kind of shit the referee can do. There's ways that they can make sure that they can administer a long 10 count. 1, 2, get back in your corner. Go back in your corner. Hey, I said, when I'm giving it that, you need to go to your corner. You need to listen to my rules. All right, 3, 4. This kid is, man, 35 seconds to goddamn get his faculties together. Anyway, in case y'all didn't know, man, I think it was in the Rio Olympics 2016, there was an article that was written where they talked about judges were found to have rigged at least 10 matches, and what they call scandalously brazen and high-ranking corruption. And that is just crazy. So it happens. It's been happening for years. It's happening now. It's going to happen long after we're gone, okay? Then the next part of the corruption and all that deals with manipulation of boxing rankings. We already know that. You look at the shit that's happening right now in boxing. The WBC is going at Turkey Al Sheikh, Suleiman versus Turkey. They're ready to put hands on each other because the WBC, the Turkey feels there's corruption in the boxing rankings, and then Turkey Al Sheikh feels that all that's bullshit. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, boxers want to get to the top. That's where the Wu-Tang cream comes in. That's where you gotta. That's where the money is. You want to get your fighter in a position to fight in a title eliminator or fight for a title. You got to pay these sanctioning bodies off, and they'll make sure your guy bubbles up top 2, 3, or number 1, 2, and 3 position. Because when you start fighting, that's where you make your money. If you get a title, then you make real money. So these promoters will make sure that they're greasing the palms of these sanctioning bodies. That's no secret. But if you want to get to the top on your own, you got to climb a ladder. And you can put in all the work in the world, man, to try to earn your shot. It doesn't mean that you're going to get there with consistent victories over year after year after year. It doesn't matter how hard you grind. You may never get there. But you see this other person have really done nothing, and they're there. Edgar Berlanga. Okay? The bottom line is rankings in the alphabet super boxing governing bodies like, the 4 sanctioning bodies. And they're all murky, man. It's all about money, man. It is what it is. But y'all keep cool. You got to better understand what's going on with the manipulation of boxing rankings. You scratch the right back and put the money in the right hand. You'll be surprised when your fighter magically gets that title shot or gets that fight that he just would have never been able to land. And then, fights being rigged, I mean, you can go all the way back to 1947 where, Jake LaMotta, he deliberately took a dive to lose his fight, man, And to me, when a fighter takes a dive, that's just like the most blatant form of match rigging. It reminds me of when Mike Tyson fought, I think it was Clifford Etienne. He hit him, and then the guy fell down and took his mouthpiece out. He fell down, took his mouthpiece out, then he was knocked out. So y'all, and there's more instances of shit like that, but I'm just giving you the ones off the top of my head that I remember watching saying that was bullshit. But when stuff like that happens, man, I just think it's a disgrace, man. Especially if you got people out here who are betting big money, and then all of a sudden they see something happen, they're wondering, what the hell? Got to be frustrating, man. But the bottom line, it's all about the outcome. It's all about predetermined results at times. And sometimes promoters just need their fighters to win. And you'll see that they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that it happens, man. And it sucks that the outcome of a fight can be predetermined even before a punch is thrown. That's horrible. Anyway, y'all keep cool, man. Shout out to the veterans, all seven continents. Boxing is corrupt. It comes down to money. There's no separation of church and state. Conflict of interest, like I was telling you, man. People who make all the money, the promoters, they're in bed with those who are tasked with administering the sports. Talked about at those those meetings and all that, those huge conferences they have. You got judges, referees, officials. They're all wined and dined, man, and sometimes paid directly by promoters. What's his name? Teddy Atlas talked about that shit in depth. Exactly what I'm telling you. He talked about that in depth. And he gets all animated and emotional when he talks about it. But he knows much better than me. But the bottom line is, when you have when these individuals all have access to each other, man, the top dogs can definitely have some influence over all of them to get the results they need. Because let me tell you something, everybody has a number. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a number. Anyway, keep cool. If you see something that doesn't make sense to you, call it out. Don't accept it. And with all these referees here, Tony Weeks, that guy who refereed that Pritchard Cologne fight, Jack Reiss, Harvey Dock, recently Steve Willis, Richard Steele. I've never seen anything with Mills Lane, rest his soul, but everyone else, you see shit that doesn't make sense. Again, it's like I said, man, you got those people, the top dogs, they want a certain outcome, and they're going to ensure that fights are predetermined so that the individual who needs to win wins the fight. Refs belong in rings, not pockets. Open your eyes, people. In the breeze.